A second referendum on Scottish independence is inevitable, according to former First Minister Alex Salmond. Speaking on the BBC's Andrew Marr programme, he said the question was over the timing, which was in the hands of Nicola Sturgeon. The SNP MP argued there were three things driving the issue forward. He said these were a failure to deliver on the so-called vow, the possible outcome of the EU referendum, and divergent views over austerity cuts. Scottish voters rejected independence by 55% to 45% in last September's referendum. After the SNP won 56 of the 59 seats in Scotland in May's general election, party leader and Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon stressed there was no second Scottish independence referendum on the immediate horizon. Austerity to the max. In an interview with Andrew Marr, Mr. Salmond said, "I think a second independence referendum is inevitable. The question, of course, is not the inevitability, it is the timing." Asked about the sort of issues that could provoke another vote, he said, "I can see three issues which are moving things towards a second referendum, on a timescale yet to be determined. One is the refusal to deliver the vow. The vow was about home rule, devo to the max, and that has not been delivered. The second issue is the European issue. If you had a situation where Scotland voted to stay in EU and was dragged out on the votes of the people of England. The third thing emerging is from the budget and the welfare bill. Instead of getting devo to the max, we are getting austerity to the max, and that divergent view of what is right in social terms between Scotland and England is another thing which is moving things to another referendum." Mr. Salmond's comments came after another SNP MP raised the issue of a second referendum in two written questions to Scottish Secretary David Mundell earlier this week. Margaret Ferrier, MP for Rutherglen and Hamilton West, asked about how the UK government would respond to the Scottish Parliament calling for a second independence referendum after next year's Holyrood election. Equal partnership. Mr. Salmond also addressed the issue of Conservative plans for so-called English votes for English laws during his BBC interview. He said, "If you were doing it properly, you would have an English Parliament, because you have to have some sort of symmetry between what's happening in Northern Ireland, what's happening in Wales, what's happening in Scotland, what's happening in England. There are 4 nations in these islands, and if you were to take the Prime Minister at his word and this was an equal partnership, then each of these nations would have equality with each other, and that would mean an English Parliament." The ex-SNP leader was also asked about the Labour leadership contest. He said he could work with Labour on a range of issues if Jeremy Corbyn became leader.